Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wear Mighty Things, presented by Wearable Fandom. This is October 6th, and this is episode number 15. And just a reminder, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most high-quality audio dispensaries. My name is John, and as per always, I am here with my amazing co-host, the one, the only, Dustin Klingman, everyone. Dustin, how you doing, my friend?
You did it, man. You did it. All right.
Did I do it? I started a little bit, but I think for my first time, I did all right.
I think that was great. We're changing it up, and hey, it's nice to see that you can handle this without me, which means at some point in time maybe you can just take over the complete host chair and I don't have to be there, and maybe other good things can happen too.
Why? No. There's no Wear Mighty Things without Dustin. I mean, what are you talking about here? Are we?
Well, I'm not saying.
Are you leaving? Do I need to?
I'm not going anywhere. No. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just trying to think about.
You are going to New York though.
You're right about that, dude. You are so right about that. What's most important is that today we're going to talk all about Comic-Con that's coming up in just another week. And 1 week from today, John, I'll be flying to New York. We'll be hanging out and doing all kinds of fun stuff that we'll talk about in depth. We've got the Peanuts. The Peanuts, yes! John, have finally come to Roosevelt's, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Peanuts collection that they dropped for Halloween, as well as a little bit about our favorite Peanuts memories. And lastly, we're going to go into an interesting practice of Roosevelt's remix remasters. The most obvious version of this is when people take a large shirt and turn it into shorts that didn't get released in performance shorts. Well, there's even more extreme versions of that. And we're going to talk just a little bit about some of the examples we've seen recently and the general practice of just destroying shirts in favor of turning them into something else, maybe even something better. But before we do that, John, as always, we need to fess up. John, what are you wearing today?
Right now, I am wearing my Octocooler hoodie. And I have a fun story about this, but I'll let you tell you what you're wearing first. But I am wearing this Octocooler hoodie that I've been looking for forever. I absolutely love this design. So this is definitely one of my favorites. And I popped the tags on it yesterday. And additionally, I am wearing my Steamboat Mickey hat under the brim. You got that Steamboat Willie
nice
design on it. So really happy about that. What are you wearing, my friend?
Well, I'll start with the lid, and I'm starting with the Hoboken to Tokyo, one of my favorites. And then I've got, in celebration of the 40th anniversary of Transformers, more
Robots
than meets the eyes. Yeah. Robots are these guys. Yeah, if you put a heavy New York accent on that song. This is Trop and Lock, which is one of my favorites. It's like a floral, but you've got Grimlock hiding, the Dinobot hiding out inside here. I got a lot of compliments on this from my most recent wearing out of the country. But let's hear your story about Octocooler.
You can't talk today. What is going on with you, Dustin?
I'm off my rocker. I just got back from Amsterdam, and I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning. So maybe it's time for bed for me somehow.
The red light district will definitely do that to you. So I was wanting this Octocooler hoodie for a little while now, and when I decided I was going to buy it, of course it was sold out on the website. And I would just check. I would check occasionally, say maybe someone returned one. And I'm scrolling one day, and all of a sudden I see one pop up in my size. There's only one on the website because you can check the stock and check the inventory. There's only one on the website, and I was like, bam, immediately, I'm buying it. I'm excited, and I'm waiting for it. And I get an email, that dreaded email from Pete 4 or 5 days later. Sorry, we don't have your item, and it's not happening. So I'm like, all right, bummer. Must have been a mistake in the warehouse or whatever. So about 2 weeks later, I'm searching again. Same thing. Octocooler 3XL hoodie is in there. There's one left in stock, and I'm like, buying it. I'm doing it. Same thing. 4 or 5 days later, I get that dreaded email from Pete. Sorry, we don't have it. And I'm getting frustrated now. I'm like, what is happening? I'm assuming, I've never worked in a warehouse before, but I'm assuming it's got to be on a weekly basis or something. They go ahead and they do inventory amongst the entire warehouse and whatnot. And so in my head, someone's scanning this, and it just must be in a spot that it's either in the wrong spot or it's in a spot that's hard to get to, or it's somewhere where they just can't find it. I'm like, but when they do their inventory scan, so it happened 3rd time's the charm. I saw it pop up again. I ordered it and I got it. So I don't know if this was a returned one. I don't know if it was in the wrong spot. I don't know what had it, but after the 3rd time, I ordered it and it came, and I am really blessed to have it. So, so grateful to own this one. I really like this design. I've actually thought about getting this design tattooed on me because I really like the Kraken design. I've thought about, have you ever considered getting a Roosevelt's tattoo, or do you think that's lame?
I currently have no tattoos, and I would consider it, but I have not actively thought about it at all.
I mean, I think if something's meaningful to you, I think it's cool to get a tattoo. I've never gotten a tattoo before, but I think if something's meaningful to you, I think it's something, why not, And because like I was talking about this with my mom, and she was like, well, what if Roosevelt's is not even a thing in 10 years? She's like, what if that's not even? And I was like, I don't care. I'm like, for me, it's about the memories and the experiences that I had throughout this time and the changes that it's made and affected my life for good forever. I'm like, that means something to me. So I'm always going to remember, regardless if Roosevelt's is here in the next 10 years, I'm always going to remember having this podcast with you and going to meet all the amazing insiders and going to all the cool different meetups and whatnot and all the amazing friendships that I've made throughout. I'm like, so I'm more than happy to have a Roosevelt's tattoo because this company has positively affected my life in so many ways even if it's not around in 10 years, I still have the memories and I want to have that on me. So I don't know if I'm going to get this design or not, but I like this design a lot to the point where I've definitely contemplated like, maybe why not? I don't, maybe we'll get a wearable Fandom tattoo together when you're in New York. Maybe we'll,
like a little ankle tattoo, or get that little, like the wrist tattoo that sometimes people will get so they can hide it with a watch band.
On the face or go home. That's it. I'm not going.
We're on the face or go home. Tyson or bust.
Tyson or bust, baby.
I remember the first time I saw Tyson with that tattoo, and I was like, no way. That's fake. I didn't believe that he actually tattooed his face permanently. I didn't believe that he was surrounded by people who would let him do that. And then again, maybe they had no real control on him.
Do you think you can control Mike Tyson? I must tell you.
In those days.
Well, so my very first New York Comic-Con, Mike Tyson was there. He was promoting, he had a kids series. He had a Cartoon Network show or whatever.
Don't get around kids.
I asked Mike Tyson 2 questions. I met Mike Tyson. I asked him 2 questions. I said, I'm like, what made you want to get into kids animation? And I shit you not, his exact answer in front of representation and all was, well, truth be told, I really didn't want to do it, but the wife thought it was a good idea, so here I am. That was his exact. And then I asked him, I said, can I get a selfie with you? And his exact response was, go fuck yourself. And it was the most scariest thing. To have Mike Tyson tell you to go fuck yourself is one of the scariest things I've ever had to endure.
Yeah, I bet.
So I did. I went home and I went home and I listened to him.
I followed instructions.
I followed instructions. Did not get the selfie with Mike Tyson, unfortunately. He was not in the mood for it. He did not even want to be there.
I totally echo your point about the stories. I honestly feel like a lot of people who have a tattoo, there's some story or meaning about it, and being able to tell that story will be with you for your whole life. So, I'm not opposed to you getting a Roosevelt's tattoo.
I am asking your permission though, as my co-host.
Oh, well, if you put it that way, the answer is no, because it's an exertion of power.
But it would be cool though, I think. And there's a couple of people who have Roosevelt's tattoo. Kyle has an amazing Roosevelt's tattoo. Kyle Keller, he got an amazing Roosevelt's tattoo.
3 conditions for me to get a tattoo. And let me also add that it will not be happening in New York. Just so, 1,
whoa,
we have to do it together.
What does that have to do with anything?
Because I don't want to do it next week. That's why. 1, we have to do it together. 2, it has to be on our butt cheeks. And 3, we have to spell out Tenacious D.
Dear Lord.
So
not a Roosevelt's tattoo.
Oh, actually, it could be like RSV, half the V, and then the other half of the VLTS. And then when you put bare butts together, you can see it spells out Roosevelt's. That's the conditions.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't know if I'm up for all that. I don't know.
Oh, come on. What a buzzkill.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Find you may want to find someone else to do that with. I don't know if I'm up for. I'm up for getting a Roosevelt's tattoo with you. I'll even go I'll get a wearable Fandom tattoo with you. But
you can also do
not the rest of that.
Knuckle tattoos. You can also do RSVLTS. The brand is a couple letters short, fitting perfectly, but it's fine.
You don't know about Jared Skeeter Anderson, do you?
No, is he a mass murderer?
Well, he's got the 3 names for it. Jared Skeeter Anderson is an insider, who was an insider, who got lots of Roosevelt's tattoos. He has Steve, John, and the Joyce brothers, and Pete, all tattooed on him.
Okay.
And he's not an insider anymore because he got very upset with them, and he started his own competitive shirt company. And he gave away all his shirts. And but now he's still branded for life. But if you look at the field notes I just sent you, you can see all of his Roosevelt's tattoos that he has.
He's literally got steel desks.
He was like a top insider and everything. And then what happened was he had decided he was going to make his own glasses, like drink glasses. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to use licenses that Roosevelt's had and then have Roosevelt sell them on their site. And Roosevelt's was like, no, we're not doing this. We're not condoning this. So he got very upset and left Insiders, gave away all his shirts, and then started his own shirt company. I asked co-founder John at the Hoboken meetup, I was like, what is your opinion on getting a Roosevelt's tattoo? And he said to me, he's like, the last guy that got a Roosevelt's tattoo started his own shirt company to compete with us. He was like, so no, I'm not for Roosevelt's tattoos.
So just to summarize, he was super into it. He got tattoos. He was wanting to do some kind of co-branded merchandise that he made. They didn't want to do that, so he got upset and left the brand. But he's still wearing the brand in a different way. He's wearing the brand in the form of the tattoos that he got.
Oh, yes, exactly. I mean, who knows if he got those covered up or not, but even then you can't with those. I mean, that's too much to get covered up. I mean, he's got a crazy amount of tattoos. I'm surprised the field notes are still up for that with everything that's happened, all the drama and whatnot. I'm surprised they didn't just take that down.
Man, that's crazy. Well, whoever,
just a little bit of Roosevelt's lore for you.
Yeah, well, not just for me, for people who are listening to the podcast and don't know. I certainly didn't know that. That stuff's 3 years old, maybe longer. But you know what I do know, John? I do know that Comic-Con's coming up, and I'm ready to talk about that. But before we do that, let's actually dip in and talk about this most recent release that actually just came out this week, actually, while we're here. And that was the Roosevelt's X Peanuts Halloween collection. And to my knowledge, and you can correct me, this is the first time that the Roosevelts have had a Peanuts collection. I'm a huge fan of Charles Schulz and all of the Peanuts. And am I right about that? Have you ever seen a Peanuts shirt prior?
No, this is the very first Roosevelt's Peanuts collection. I've seen Peanuts collaborate with other brands. I've gotten advertisements for Peanuts branded merch with other brands. Most importantly, Ryan Spooner. I feel like I've seen that one a lot. I don't know if you've seen the ones that they did with him, but I've been waiting for a Roosevelt's Peanuts collection for quite some time. And the fact that we finally got it is, I am literally through the moon about this. I've been wanting this forever. I'm a huge Snoopy guy. I love my dogs more than anything, my Mickey and my Macy. So always been a Snoopy guy, and just to finally have the ability to get Peanuts merch from Roosevelt's truly was something special. What were your overall thoughts on this drop?
I loved it. You know, the Charlie Brown, it's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown is the Halloween special. My first reaction was not about Halloween, but rather if they've broken the seal on the collaboration, it might mean that we get Charlie Brown Christmas stuff, which is the most famous of the modern era Charlie Brown stuff, which is still ahead of us. But it makes me excited to see. In terms of actually just my reaction to what they released, I loved it. I mean, everything that they released was both representative of that show and some of the unique characteristics, but it also captured some of the really great, more general form, specifically talking about like the Flying Ace shirt with Snoopy on it was really outstanding. And honestly, it was really cool. And I not only loved the shirts, but I also appreciated the additional apparel that came along with it, which included a hat. And there was one that I didn't really love, which was the one that actually had the comic strips on it. It was the Sunday comic strips. Yeah, spooky strips. It's cool that it actually was the Schulz printed strips, but a couple of things. One, I really did not like the pocket placement. The pocket placement didn't make too much sense to me from the design. But what I will give credit to is actually the colors, the way that they balanced it. Like, I don't know if you ever read the comics in the Sunday paper, but the Sunday papers were the ones that were in color, and they were the ones that were double stacked. Like they were just like the normal weekly run of the strips would be like X number of panels, and then the Sunday one would be extra large. It would take up more real estate, and those were the ones that were in color. And I'm pretty sure, without checking the dates, that the ones on here are all Sunday strips for many different years. So I love the fact that they went that was pretty bold. But I didn't think that the way that the pocket landed was particularly great. But love the hat. I actually got no beef against the Halloween Every Day is Halloween shirt that they released, and I'm probably going to pick up that dad hat. I did not. I got the Flying Ace shirt, but yeah, I don't know. What was your reaction?
So once again, was super happy to finally get a Peanuts collection. I have been waiting for this forever. First thing we got to say right off the bat is so happy that not only we get men's cuts, we got women's cuts. Yes. We got the youth, and we got the preschooler as well. So this is definitely, there's something for the whole family, literally, with this whole collection. So really glad that we got a hat and a t-shirt nonetheless. I mean, that's a full once we get hoodies, I mean, that's a full drop. I mean, we're only missing a hoodie and a bomber jacket. So and I'm also excited for the future now. When I think now that we know that they have the Peanuts license, where does this come from? Just like you, I'm also excited for Charlie Brown Christmas. That's obviously, that's a hometown favorite here. And I think also the inevitable, I think what we're also going to get is the Charlie Brown design shirt on a Breakfast Balls polo. I think that's inevitable at some point.
Oh, you mean the zigzag line? The classic Charlie Brown design? Ooh.
I would be very surprised if we don't get that at some point. That was where my mind first went to. Truth be told, I'm really excited for the Christmas collection because that's just where my heart is at. I love the Flying Ace shirt. I love that because it's just kind of like an overall, you can wear that at any point in time. The Halloween shirts are great, but you can only wear that around the season. The fact that, Flying Ace, I'm a sucker for Snoopy. So I love my dogs. I've always loved Snoopy. I grew up loving Snoopy so much. Snoopy and Woodstock. I mean, so to have that is perfect to me. But I also really like the Peanuts patch shirt. I thought that was really a different shirt. And even though it's all white, you're always worried about, getting that ruined easily. I really like the overall design of that. That was a great scene in the show. And I really like where they went with that one.
Often the Peanuts Christmas and holiday specials tend to air on Apple TV or some streamer now. They used to air on network television, though.
Right. That's what I was going to continue saying. I don't think they actually air on actual TV anymore. You have to be on the Apple TV streaming service. But I think they do let, like, the weekend of the holiday or something, they let you watch it for free, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's cute.
I think that's
really nice.
Right, but any other time you got to pay you got to be part of the streaming service to watch it. But what are your thoughts on that, taking these cartoons that, universally most of us grew up with? Do you think it's a standard rights issue, and just like any other movie or television show, these people have the rights, just like if you want to watch House of Cards, you have to go on Netflix. Apple bought the rights to Peanuts, you got to watch that. Or because these are beloved specials that people grew up watching, like it's almost a part of our culture. Peanuts holiday specials, certain Christmas movies, are just kind of American culture. You know, do
Yeah.
you think that's kind of wrong to then put it behind a paywall? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you can find it on YouTube if you really want to watch it. They've also
Oh,
put
I
it
mean,
on DVD over the years and things like that. So I don't think it's locked behind the paywall. It's just that's the most convenient place for people to look for it. Yeah, it is. It is a rights thing. I don't know if you know this, but Charles Schulz lived in Northern California. In fact, he lived in Santa Rosa, which was about an hour north of here. So when you come visit me in San Francisco, we'll go to the Schulz Museum, and it is outstanding, John. I'm telling you, it's amazing. They have original penned cartoon strips from Schulz, and the interesting thing is how much larger they are than what you see in the actual comic strips, because they would photograph them and then they had to like shrink it down, and they would progressively photograph them smaller size to get the size that would fit into the newspaper. But you can see the original ones that were drawn by his hand. It's really moving for people who are big fans. They have a complete and perfect replica of his working desk and office there, and if you know where to look, his actual office was not very far from the location of where that museum is. So I happen to know where it is. So when you come visit, we'll go. You can't get in, like you're just going to the place where it happened. Like you're looking at it from the outside. Sure. You don't go inside there. Next door, though, they actually have Snoopy's Home Ice. And Schulz was a very big fan of ice hockey. So he brought a lot of the Northern California love and passion for hockey, which helped land the San Jose Sharks here in the Bay Area. A lot of that happened because of the influence of Charles Schulz. Hockey leagues that are played there, like senior leagues, children leagues. And then he would have like old timers of hockey come and do shows there on Snoopy's Home Ice. And he just basically got people really excited about hockey up here. So Schulz had a huge impact. And then there's the Warm Puppy Cafe. That's the name of the cafe that's at the ice rink. And they have a reserved table that's like permanently reserved for Schulz, because that's where he would go every day and have his lunch. It's actually like a really amazing experience. I've been there many times. But be happy to go there again and take you there. They often change out the artwork and things like that, so you can see different strips or different collections. But yeah, it's really wonderful to see a way to express a wearable fandom instance for the Peanuts, because it's long overdue. And I'm just really thrilled that the Roosevelts has built this relationship, and now we've got these awesome shirts as a result.
That's absolutely amazing. I didn't even know any of that existed. First of all, I would love to see that. As a lifelong Peanuts fan, nothing would make me happier than to go see that. I'm excited to know that even exists.
Yeah.
So I would love to go out there and see that with you. I'm trying to think, it's funny. You said, you could take me out to that cafe and see that. We have our own version of that here in New York. I can take you to the diner where Tony Soprano got his head bloody open in a thing of onion rings, if you want, where they filmed the ending scene. That actual diner. Yes. That's our version of that here. If you want, I can take you over there.
Wait, the diner from the finale, or
from the finale? Yes.
Oh,
they actually have the table. They actually have the table there that he was sitting in. The final scene was shot. And fun fact, they actually didn't start selling onion rings until after that show aired, and so many people kept coming in asking for onion rings to sit at that table, and they didn't even sell onion rings at the time.
Where is this place?
It's in Jersey.
It's in Jersey.
Yes.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out if that's something we can do on this trip.
So we can go see Tony Soprano's house, and we can go to the diner if you want.
What? Okay. Let's book that. Let's book that. Yeah. Let's try that.
Let's do that, man. It's a bit of a road trip. It's probably about 2 hours away from where I live, but I mean, it's 2 hours. I mean, why not? I mean, we can.
2 hours. Okay. All right. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll book that off air. But yeah, I'm thrilled. Let's try to make that happen. Then that also turns into John and Dustin road trip. So that'll be fun. Cool, man.
Yeah, buddy. Let's do it.
That's exciting. Now, this trip to New York is getting so much better. Any last comments on the Peanuts before we move on?
I always like finding lost media, and one of the things I recently found, sometimes I'll just do kind of deep dives into things that I just really like. And I don't know, I'm sure you do the same. I'll get bored. I'll read like entire Wikipedia articles. And one of the lost footage things that I found on Charlie Brown Christmas special is throughout the show of the Charlie Brown Christmas special, there are certain scenes that have cans. And there's a scene where Lucy's shaking the can, and then there's another scene where Linus like snaps his blanket, at a can that's sitting on top of something. And what I found out was when these specials originally aired, they were sponsored by Coca-Cola, and they were originally Coke cans. Now, if you go back to the special that you watched, the specials that you watch today, it's a regular, there's no branding whatsoever, just a regular, it's like green and white or something like that. But they actually had to go in and re-edit it and take out all the Coke references. And so there's the original spot, the original Charlie Brown Christmas specials had all these different Coca-Cola spots throughout and mentions and different things. And if you go on YouTube, some of those have been found and have been put on the internet. And I thought that was really interesting to go back and see.
Wow, that is cool.
I never knew.
Drop me a link to some of those videos because I'd love to put them in the show notes for other people. And I want to see that stuff too. I didn't realize it was
absolutely
paid placement. Well, let us know what you think about the Peanuts collection. Drop a comment down below, and you can always reach out to us on socials. We're at Wearable Fandom at Instagram. And of course, you can email us wearablefandom@gmail.com. We love getting all of your letters and notes and comments within. And while we're here, it's an opportunity to remind you guys to like and subscribe and follow us on your favorite podcast service, or of course here on YouTube. All right, now let's move on to our second topic, John, the Roosevelt's Remix Remasters. What are we talking about here? Well, this is about buying original shirts of varying sizes and shapes, and then converting or modifying those clothes to become something new. The most common example we mentioned at the top of the show is for people to take larger, maybe a 4X or 3X, depending on your size, and then have those converted into shorts. So now you can wear a tux, and we've seen some really great ones. I think Ross Searlock has a tropical Mickey tux. He has a lot of. He has a lot. He's the guy.
Ross does a lot of them.
Yeah, Ross is the guy who has the most of these types of outputs in my experience. So when you get one of those really rare shirts that have you seen a Kraken tux? That's one thing I have not seen.
I have not, but I did want to touch base and ask you your opinion on this, because there is some difference of opinion within the community of when people do take a rare shirt like either a Kraken or a Ninja Hops or a Trippy Tee or something, and they take it and they get it sent in and turn into shorts, because essentially that's, you're taking one out of the wild. There are some of these Roosevelt shirts, especially some of these whales that we just mentioned, are so rare and so limited, and we're pretty sure they're not going to come back in any capacity, that, once you cut it up into shorts like that, that's it. It's gone out of the wild. It's, you're never going to see that. And there is some people think it's wrong to do that, because now, you're just taking one out. You're making it harder to get, and you're making those chances slimmer. So what are your thoughts from a community aspect? Are you for people taking their shirts and cutting up in the shorts, or do you kind of feel like, I don't know, what do you think?
I think it's fine. No. I think it's great. The thing that I love about it is not just the fact that it's an additional extension of the creativity around the original design. In fact, I see it as an appreciation for the design more than I see it as a destructive activity. It's about converting it into something that HQ potentially could have done themselves if they had wanted to. And so even some of these shirts that get converted into tuxes, is there any reason why they couldn't do Ninja Hops as performance shorts only? Or the Kraken as performance shorts only? There's no rule that says, in my mind, that says they couldn't deliver those. So, but I think you do whatever you want. And there's always a risk it doesn't turn out the way you want, which means in addition to losing one of the copies of the shirt, now you're actually out that money or whatever you spent in effort to try to get them converted into a tux. So super in support of all of the modifications and remixes that I've seen. How about you?
Yeah, fair enough. And I agree. I think, if it's your product, you have the right to do what you want with it. You bought it, that you want to do that. I think that's that's perfectly fine. I can tell you, I know for a fact that at the Hoboken meetup with the Steve Littlething shirt, somebody was gifted by HQ an additional Steve Littlething shirt so they can have it chopped up in the shorts.
What are your best examples that you've seen of people who have taken an existing shirt, and we'll just hand wave away tuxes because tuxes can look great, but we've seen some other great examples of when people have used the fabrics in fun and interesting ways other than just making shorts.
Yeah, so I got to say, the Hepplers, Jason and Eshla, who are two of the kindest insiders that I personally have ever gotten the chance to meet and speak with. They are both great people. And what they do on their spare time, then they don't get this sent away. They do this at home because they're really crafty and they're really cool. Like I could never do this. They get shirts cut up in outfits for their dogs, which I always thought was really cool. I really like that they do that. So they have a whole collection. In fact, I believe one of their dogs actually has a Jordan. Because
what?
Well, because Jason, Jason was gifted a Jordan by Steve, and then he had bought somebody else's Jordan, somebody else's 4X Jordan, and had to cut up into shorts. So Jason has the only Jason has the only Jordan tux. But when they did that, there was additional fabric left over from the 4X tux that they had cut up into shorts. So they took that and they made it into an outfit for their dog. And so that I think was pretty damn epic. So I love what they're doing for outfits for their dogs.
I wonder if that was the inspiration for the dog bandanas that came out a little bit earlier this year. If they saw that at HQ and they're like, oh, this sounds great. Let's do it.
I bought some really cool dog bandanas from insider Jessica Gandy, who had some really nice dog bandanas custom made from the Drop Zone Good to the Bone, which is this really cool button down drop zone of different dogs in different dog skeletons going around. And that was always a really special shirt to me because I was picking up my dog Mickey 2 weeks before that shirt came out. So I made sure I got that shirt, and I got it the day before I went to go pick up my dog Mickey. So I went up to go finally get him. I came wearing that shirt. So that was always, whenever I look at that shirt, it's a special memory for me. So that's special, adorable. I forgot the name of the shirt.
Well, you didn't forget the moment. That's the main thing, John. That's the main thing.
Can never forget the moment, man. Of course.
That's right. Yeah.
Dogs are so special.
Aw. Well, we did see some recently that somebody had actually made a couple of interesting modifications to Summer Snips and a Doors hoodie. For the Doors Performance hoodie, they actually added a front zipper, which is something that I've been curious to see Roosevelt's do for a long time. Really nice zipper right down the middle. And they added front pockets that you could actually put. So they literally sewed these things on to the front of the Doors hoodie. It's not in the same fabric. It's actually black, but you can see clearly, like you can get your hands into the pockets of that hoodie. Let's start with that one. What did you see the hoodie with the doors and the hand with the zip in the hand pockets?
I did see the pictures of it. And first of all, I'm all for innovation. And I think it's really cool that, insiders are taking the initiative to, try to create products that they want. And I think whenever we can see something different and see somebody use their brain to create something, I think that should always be applauded. I think that's really cool. That being said, I like the way that the zip up went down. I think that looks really cool. I am not a fan of how the pockets turned out, at least from the images that we've seen. I personally speaking, if it was me, I would have sent in an additional hoodie and had them cut up that and use that so that way the pattern matches. The solid black pockets, while useful, does not look the best in my opinion. It very much, you want the Doors hoodie to, the Doors pattern to really reflect and stand out. And at least to me now, when I see this, I just see this really amazing pattern followed by this really dark black, pockets that really just stand out. And, it's the large front pocket that goes in the middle. So it takes up a chunk of the design, and I'm not a fan of it. I would have, if there was a way to make either send an additional hoodie so they have the fabric to make that into the pockets, I think that would have looked a lot better in my opinion. The way they did this, personally speaking, I'm not a fan, and it's not something that I would be interested in having made for myself. I would do it differently. Yeah. What did you think though?
Well, I think you took the words right out of my mouth. It was an interesting idea. The execution of the zipper looked great. In fact, it made me think about wanting to put a zipper on some of my performance hoodies. I do struggle to wonder the performance hoodies are so thin. When will you be in a spot where you actually need the pockets? And I can imagine they're not for your hands. They're for your phone, or they're for your keys, or something along those lines. And I feel like HQ could make a modification to the performance hoodies to make room for those. So I hope that they do. In the meantime, the person who did the doors, I hope they're happy with it. And maybe they're going to be perfectly happy with it. Now they can take their keys with them, or their phone has a spot to be. So good for them. Moving on, I did actually, on the summer snips, they actually had somebody who took the snips and turned it into a dress, and that looked outstanding. I thought that pattern came out great. Did you happen to see that one as well?
Yes, I couldn't agree more. I think whoever submitted in for the dress, that came out really nice. And I know there's been a movement for a while, for Roosevelt's to create dresses instead of making. I mean, say in addition to, women kunus, people want to see dresses, made by Roosevelt's, and I think it's an interesting take, and I would love to see that for the women eventually. I've actually spoken with HQ about this at different conventions, asking them like their thoughts on it. And while it's an idea that they're definitely interested in, they really want to perfect getting kunus right. They do acknowledge that they do have slip ups and issues, and sometimes when it comes to the manufacturing process. So the quote that I've heard from a member of HQ was, "Let's master kunus first, and then we can move on to dresses and other kind of wearable items like that." Which I think is fair. I think that's I think you can definitely acknowledge there's been issues in manufacturing and whatnot, and sizing issues, and pockets
loose
being
threads,
put upside down, and
poor. Yeah, exactly.
You just dealt with that this past weekend.
I did. Yeah. And,
yes.
But not as bad as the upside down pockets of the Salt Lake City stuff. Yeah. The exclusives showed up, and now I'm like, oh, keep that. It's actually a rare error Roosevelt's now, if you bought one of those. I wonder if they make people return those or not.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Probably not. Probably not. But still. Well, if you've got an example of something that you've done that's not a tux, like some other example of a really great expression and creative, drop us an email and send us a picture. We'd love to show them off maybe on the next episode. And we will definitely take a look for those of you who are creatively minded. Let us know what it is that you're doing with your Roosevelt's, with your extras. And are you making clothes for your kids, for your dogs, for your birds? Let us know. What are you doing? And we'll take a look at some of those for the next episode. Or I should say, John, the episode after, because our next episode actually will be recorded live from the floor of New York Comic-Con. We've got a scheduled time, and I'm looking forward to it. The D23 episode was outstanding, and let's shift gears here and talk a little bit about what we're excited about for Comic-Con. What are you looking forward to the most?
Well, first of all, the thing I'm excited to see the most is, just love to hang out with insiders. I'm so excited to see you. I'm so excited to see everybody who's going to be attending. I love seeing HQ. I can't wait to see what exclusive we're going to be getting. But I mean, obviously for me, at any single meetup, it's the fact of just being able to see everyone that we talk to online, and just being able to be together, because insiders are the best people, man. But I am very much looking forward to New York Comic-Con. Of course, I cannot wait to see you, Dustin. I know you're coming in soon. So I think one thing to bring up is that we finally got the show floor map for New York Comic-Con. And we do see that Roosevelt's has a really good prominent booth. Let me get that number. See, why am I not prepared? This is why you're going to fire me.
You're fired.
So Roosevelt's has a prominent booth, 3243. And if you actually look at the map, you will see it's a fairly large booth. It's a standalone booth, so it's not one of the smaller booths that we've seen before in the past, where it's just like booth, like where they're kind of touching each other right next. They have a standalone independent booth that definitely has some space around it, kind of like what we've seen at D23 and what we've seen previously when they were at New York Comic-Con. Now, although we have heard rumors that they're going to use the D23 booth again at future cons, we have received confirmation that that's not the case for New York Comic-Con. We have not.
Yeah.
We are not going to see the D23 booth. I think we're going to get an Outpost again, though, which is something that we've heard rumblings of. And I definitely think after definitely confirming, seeing on the map which booth Roosevelt's has in the space that they have, I would be very surprised if we don't get an Outpost this year. It definitely looks like they have the space for it. And I loved being part of the Outpost. Have you been a part of a Roosevelt's Outpost before, Dustin?
No, I mean, I believe the first one they did was last year at Comic-Con. And then they did one in Cleveland.
New York Comic-Con.
Yeah, at New York Comic-Con. And then they did one at Cleveland. So I attended neither of those shows last year. Or this year. So this will be my first time if it does come through. And I echo those rumblings. And those rumblings have been around for months. It's not like we just heard this last week. Like we heard this months ago that there was going to be an Outpost. So I'm excited. As somebody who's actually been to an Outpost before, do you mind describing what it's like there and what people who have never seen one or never participated can expect?
Absolutely, man. So the Outpost and the Roosevelt booth, at least last year at New York Comic Con, was a part of the same booth. It was kind of split down the middle. So you had your section in the front, and I say front, just kind of facing towards what would be the rest of New York Comic Con Hall, and that's where you'd line up to get your exclusives. And Roosevelt's also brings a couple of other shirts, not really, things that are still available on the website, but you have your exclusives and your other Kunus and whatever items that they're selling. They have the line right there. And then on the back side of the booth, they have the Outpost, which is basically a bunch of racks separated by size. And there's a separate line for that. And as they let you in, you can go in and you can just search through the racks for whatever shirt you want. And there's this extra small, a small, medium, large, etc. And as shirts sell, they bring more out. So this is not a one and done thing. If you show up to the booth at 10 a.m. and you look and the shirt you want is there, it can even be 20 minutes later that the shirt you want pops up, depending on how fast they're restocking the booth. And that all depends on how fast they're selling shirts. So they just consistently all day, they had an employee there who, as shirts would sell, like, oh, well, we have a few holes in the medium section. Let me go back out there and get some mediums. And they just go out, get mediums. They put them right on the rack. And that's it. And it's a wild goose chase because you never know what they're going to bring out. And I mean, last year you did have people who all day were, just hanging around the Outpost booth because they have a specific shirt or a specific item that they're looking for and they were hoping to get. And, they were, it was worth it to them to stay there all day to hopefully get it. In addition to, and it really is, in the Outpost, you can find anything. You can find regular Kunus, you can find con exclusives, you can find, and this is what I thought was really cool and really interesting, unreleased items, test items, things that have never been brought to life before, that they just, they found in storage or they found around the office and they just get put up there, things that, we've never seen before. And I really like that. And so you never know what they're going to pull out. It's a mystery bag, but they had Kunus, they had shorts, they had hoodies, they had hats, they had literally anything that you can think of, anything that Roosevelt has produced. And it's a gimme, so, I mean, what would be your perfect Outpost find, Dustin? What would you, if you're going to go search in the Outpost, what is it that you're hoping to find?
I would really love to get a Kraken or that Stormtrooper shirt, that one from the London exclusive. Either of those would be great. But I was thinking to ask you, you got the drop on me, and I'm like, what do you think the rarest shirt is going to be? And I have an answer for that as well. That I want to hear yours. I think the rarest shirt, John, that we will see, this is one of my predictions for the Outpost at New York Comic Con. So there's two things, right? One, there has to be an Outpost, and two, this has to happen for this to come true. I think, John, that the Orlando International Airport carpet, they'll have a few of those that they'll drop on the racks at the Outpost because it fits the description, right? It was never sold. It was unreleased. It could be test. So I think there will actually be Orlando carpet shirts at the Outpost. What do you think?
I mean, holy crap. That would be That would be amazing. That would be, if we finally get the release of that, and I really, really, really hope we get that. I would definitely be a buyer of that if we get that. It's like you don't know what happened with all that. You don't know what, who knows if MCO made them even destroy the shirts. Who knows what the plan is.
Most of the shirts.
Most of the shirts. There was a couple, I think it's definitely a possibility. I think I definitely think it could happen. They may drop. I don't think we'll get a lot of them, but they may sprinkle 5 of them, and maybe 1 or 2 in each size. Maybe we'll get.
That'd be great.
That would cause some chaos. That would be
heroic.
Because I know
that would be heroic.
That shirt is definitely sought after by a lot of people, and I didn't even think about that, but I really hope we get that. I would be really, really, really happy.
Yeah, baby.
If we got that.
How about you?
I mean, honestly, the unreleased stuff that we got last year was really interesting. In fact, I remember a story somebody had posted on Insiders, and I don't know who did it, but Steve was hanging out at the Outpost, and somebody went up to Steve and said, "Hey, what's the craziest thing that's still here on the rack that you're surprised nobody has picked up yet?" And he actually brought him over. It was a medium test item. It was the 90s Nick mashup, but it was in the style of a basketball jersey material.
Oh.
And it had like the holes in it. Yeah. It was something that they were thinking of trying, And so Steve had that printed up, and he was like, this has been sitting here all day. He was like, and no one's picked it up. And so he picked it up. He bought it. Yeah. Of course, I'm always on the lookout for Trippy T. Trippy T is my number one shirt. I hope to get a Trippy T. And I've accepted the fact that I'm never going to own a Trippy T. I know it's never going to happen. But like, I've already but it's fun to want something. It's fun to, I'd like a Tesla one day too. That'd be cool. But I want a Trippy T. I know it's never going to happen for me. But a Trippy T would be amazing. That's the shirt that I'm hoping somehow, some way they pull one. Last year, one insider actually got a Kraken. One Kraken was pulled. Yes, one insider actually pulled the Kraken from the Outpost. So, I mean, who even knew that there were any of those still around? So the fact that we were able to pull a Kraken definitely tells me that anything is possible at the Outpost. So,
anything is possible at the Outpost is a great way to close that section out. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well, we're going to be doing a lot of other things. Of course, there will be evening festivities, lots of fun, maybe some karaoke. You and I have Staten Island Fest, where we will be drinking beers, riding the Staten Island Ferry. You're going to take me on a pizza tour of the city and the boroughs. That's exciting. And it's going to be just a wonderful week. We'll be there all week. And of course, if you do see us, please come up and say hi. We always love meeting new folks, especially those we haven't talked to. If you've got questions about the podcast, and you know what, just like D23, if you're there when we're recording, we might just grab you and pull you on air to talk about it. So everybody needs to be prepared. That was some of the best
part. Yeah, when we had different insiders just jumping into our D23 episode, and that was so much fun. I just love grabbing to talk to people and see what they have to say about what's going on and seeing their reactions. And I think that was so much fun. I love that, and I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Yeah, it was a crazy amount of fun. All right, well then let's before we sign off here, John, let's do our quick coverage of our top 3 shirts from the last week or two since the last time you and I chatted, which has actually been a couple of weeks, even though the podcast got dropped late. Let me hear your top 3 recent shirts that you want to draw attention to.
Yeah, so coming in at number 3, we had Stars of the Silver Scream from the Universal Monsters collection. I thought that was really, really, really cool. Number 2, it's the Great Pumpkin from the Charlie Brown collection. That's a classic shirt. And so it's a little busy. It's definitely a John shirt. But when I saw that, that just screamed out nostalgia to me. And I was really happy to see that. And the number 1 shirt is the Shop Till You Drop Zone shirt, which I know a lot of insiders really liked. And just seeing all the different little quotes, it got me. I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, that's me. All the different quotes going around on there. That is definitely a sought after shirt. It's one that I definitely regret not purchasing. So I definitely need one of those for myself. But that would maybe at the Outpost. Maybe there's a couple laying around. We'll get it at the Outpost. Who knows? But that's one I definitely want for myself for sure. But Dustin, what about you? What are your top 3?
Well, for the Universal Monsters, they released a reversible Frankenstein film crew jacket, which was super cool. It had lots of the original monster heads on it, and it looked like kind of a real official. I wonder, I have a lot of questions about that jacket. If they found like an old set jacket that the crew, the actual film crew, and if it was modeled on that, or if it was just kind of manufactured or just inspired by something. I've got a lot of questions for them at New York. Second up was the Flying Ace from the Peanuts drop, which is great. Snoopy versus the Red Baron is always one of my favorite portions and little vignettes in any Charlie Brown strip or cartoon. And then coming in first, it's going to be a surprise for people given the way that I've talked about these, but the Series 2 LA Comic-Con floral, the black and silver of the Los Angeles Kings, the original like Gretzky's Kings, man, that is pretty amazing. So I got to give some serious love to the LACC floral. Those would top out my 3.
That's awesome, man. My God, it definitely just sounds like, Roosevelt's just keeps knocking them out, man. They just keep coming out with some amazing designs, and I don't think they'll ever stop.
No, they don't seem to be running out of juice.
No, definitely not. And can I just say that, it's really good to see, I'm liking a lot of the drop zones that are coming out. I feel like I was kind of shitting on some of the drop zones that we had previously. And like, it kind of feels like drop zones are back a little bit. Like I've been kind of happy, especially with these spooky drop zones that have been dropping. I'm like, those are really cool. So I'm kind of happy to see drop zones that I want coming back.
Yeah. Well, just wait till the Christmas ones come, because those can run the gamut.
That's going to be dangerous. That's definitely going to be dangerous.
Those can definitely run the gamut. We'll see. But you know what? If there's a Charlie Brown Christmas drop zone, now we're talking, baby.
Oh yeah, baby. I'm doing it. Oh yeah, we're getting that. That's happening 100%.
All right. And then maybe one last shout out to one of the events that we're actually hoping to pull off, and I'll certainly be in attendance. Do you want to talk a little bit about the unofficial kickoff?
Sure, yeah. So I am throwing an unofficial New York Comic Con kickoff party the Thursday night of Comic Con. I believe that is going to be the 17th. And so if you are in the New York area, even if you're attending New York Comic Con or not, I know a lot of people are coming in just for Saturday. They have issues, getting off from work and whatnot. But come down to Bullseye Sports Pub in Brooklyn, which I know it's not in Manhattan, but I'm doing that on purpose because a lot of the bars are going to be so packed in Manhattan with people in costumes and whatnot. This way for us to just kind of get away from Manhattan a little bit. And also the drinks are so expensive in Manhattan. It's like, you don't want to waste all your money on drinks. Let's come to Brooklyn. There's a place, Bullseye Sports Pub, and a nice large outdoor patio in the back. And the drinks are cheap. There's really good pizza right across the street. It's a good place for all of us to just kind of come down for that Thursday night, that first, unofficial kickoff, for everyone to just kind of come down and meet up and hang out. So if you are in the New York City area, please come to Bullseye Sports Hub in Brooklyn. And I'm going to try and make an event page if HQ allows for it. That way we can, really, maximize the amount of people who can come down. But just come on down for, cheap drinks and good time and, play some darts. Why not? It's going to be a good time. And Dustin and I will definitely be there. And we hope to see you there as well.
Sounds like a blast. And as you mentioned, John, we'll be at Comic-Con all 3-4 days of the show. We'll be recording live and of course, we'll also be doing channel coverage of what we see at Comic-Con. Lots of big announcements, stars, and panels that are sure to be very exciting for everybody. I'm looking forward to being there. And so make sure that you come up and say hello. Please like and subscribe to the podcast, share it with your friends, let them know the fun that you're having listening to the podcast, if indeed you are having fun. We'll see you guys in New York on the 17th. And until next time, let's see if we can get it right this time, John. Wear mighty things. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.